तत्सवितुर्वरेण्यं भर्गो देवस्य धीमहि धियो यो नः प्रचोदयात्। भूर्भुवस्सुवः तत्सवितुर्वरेण्यं भर्गो देवस्य धीमहि धियो यो नः प्रचोदयात्। भूर्भुवस्सुवः तत्सवितुर्वरेण्यं भर्गो देवस्य धीमहि धियो यो नः प्रचोदयात्।
श्री गणेश श्री गणेश श्री गणेश पाहि मां।
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 जय गणेश जय गणेश जय गणेश रक्ष 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 मां।
श्री गणेश पाहि मां। 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 जय गणेश रक्ष मां।
जय गणेश जय गणेश 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 जय गणेश रक्ष मां।
श्री गणेश श्री गणेश पाहि मां।
श्री गणेश श्री गणेश श्री गणेश पाहि मां।
जय गणेश जय गणेश जय गणेश रक्ष मां।
जय गणेश जय गणेश जय गणेश रक्ष मां।
श्री गणेश पाहि मां। जय गणेश रक्ष मां।
श्री गणेश पाहि मां। जय गणेश रक्ष मां।
जय गणेश जय गणेश 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 जय गणेश रक्ष मां।
श्री गणेश श्री गणेश
श्री गणेश पाहि मां।
दीनानाथ साई गुरुनाथ दीनानाथ साई गुरुनाथ प्रेम स्वरूपा शांति प्रदाता प्रेम स्वरूपा शांति प्रदाता दीनानाथ साई गुरुनाथ
अम्ब शङ्करी परमेश्वरी शशिशेखरी अम्बा अम्ब शङ्करी परमेश्वरी शशिशेखरी अम्बा जगदीश्वरी माहेश्वरी अम्बा सर्वेश्वरी जगदीश्वरी माहेश्वरी अम्बा शिवशङ्करी अम्बा अम्ब सुन्दरी गुणमञ्जरी शिवशङ्करी अम्बा श्वेतांबरी हरिसोदरी अम्बा जगदीश्वरी माहेश्वरी अम्बा माहेश्वरी अम्बा अम्ब सुन्दरी गुणमञ्जरी शिवशङ्करी अम्बा सुन्दरी गुणमञ्जरी शिवशङ्करी अम्बा
विठ्ठला हरी विठ्ठला
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 हरिनारायण
कस्तूरितिलकं नारायणम् कस्तूरितिलकं नारायणम् कस्तूरितिलकं नारायणम् कमलनयनं नारायणम् कमलनयनं नारायणम् कस्तूरितिलकं नारायणम् गुरुवायूर्पुरनारायणम् 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 कलियुग अवतार नारायणम् कलियुग अवतार नारायणम् गोविन्द गोविन्द नारायणम् गोविन्द गोविन्द नारायणम् गोविन्द गोविन्द नारायणम् गोविन्द गोविन्द नारायणम् कस्तूरितिलकं नारायणम् कमलनयनं नारायणम् कमलनयनं नारायणम् कस्तूरितिलकं नारायणम् कस्तूरितिलकं नारायणम् कस्तूरितिलकं नारायणम्
साई महादेवा साई महादेवा भर्तिपुरीश्वर साई बाबा महेश्वर भर्तिपुरीश्वर साई बाबा महेश्वर
श्रीनिवासा वेङ्कटेशा श्रीनिवासा वेङ्कटेशा श्रितजन परिपाला साईशा श्रितजन परिपाला साईशा श्रीनिवासा वेङ्कटेशा तिरुमलगिरिवासा गोविन्दा तिरुमलगिरिवासा गोविन्दा गरुडवाहन गोविन्दा गोविन्दा गरुडवाहन गोविन्दा गोविन्दा गोविन्द गोविन्द श्रीनिवास गोविन्द 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 श्रीनिवास गोविन्द 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 पतिवास गोविन्द 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 पतिवास गोविन्द श्रीनिवासा वेङ्कटेशा श्रितजन परिपाला साईशा श्रीनिवासा वेङ्कटेशा तिरुमलगिरिवासा गोविन्दा गरुडवाहन गोविन्दा गोविन्दा गोविन्द गोविन्द श्रीनिवास गोविन्द 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 श्रीनिवास गोविन्द 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 पतिवास गोविन्द 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 श्रीनिवास गोविन्द 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 श्रीनिवास गोविन्द 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 पतिवास गोविन्द 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 पतिवास गोविन्द श्रीनिवासा वेङ्कटेशा
The first question is from Florence Lentini. How do you reconcile God with consciousness? If I am consciousness, which is the only reality, then I am God. How is it that Vedantins worship God, but at the same time teach that I am Brahman or God? When I try to realize my true self, how can I also worship God? Are the two the same?
This is a standard question which comes up when you study Advaita Vedanta. If I worship God only because, first of all, God is something different from me. And if myself is one with God, if I'm one with God, then how can I worship God? It's like worshipping myself then. So how do you reconcile this? And yet there is in Advaita Vedanta, there is full-fledged bhakti and devotion and worship of God. So how do you reconcile this? The story which Sri Ramakrishna was fond of in a parable about Hanuman and Ramachandra. Sri Ramachandra, who is an avatar, an incarnation of God, asks Hanuman, what do you think of me? What do you think of me? Or how do you regard me? And Hanuman says, Deha buddhya dasoham, jiva buddhya twadangshakam, atma buddhya tu tvamevaham iti me nishchita mati. Now this verse, it solves this problem. The question which is asked here, this is the answer. What does it mean? As a body, identified with this Hanuman body, I am Hanuman. I am your servant, you are Rama, my master. Thou art my master, I am thy servant. This is a devotional approach, that you are my Lord, I am your servant. Then I am also a sentient being. I am not just this body. Hanuman says that I am this sentient being, this being with consciousness and mind, and I have had many births earlier. So this sentient being is part of the divinity. You are the all-encompassing divinity. I am thy part. As a jiva, I am your part. And then as pure consciousness, what the questioner is asking, as consciousness itself, I and you are one reality. This is my conviction. What is the answer? As body, as an Hanuman, I am the servant, you are my Lord. As a sentient being, you are the whole, I am thy part. And as pure consciousness, you and I are one reality. The first one is dualistic, Dvaita. The second one is qualified monism, Vishishta Dvaita, part and whole relationship. I am your part. And the third one is non-dualism, the identity of the human and the divine. So it shows how one can be devotional and also regard oneself as identical with Brahman. The question might be, yes, I know all that, but I'm asking about the third one. When you regard yourself as one with Brahman, that I and that reality, we are one reality, then how do you worship Brahman? So it is like this. Here the concept of two truths is very useful. Paramarthik Satyam and Vyavaharika Satyam. The absolute truth and the transactional truth. The absolute truth is that there is only one reality, existence, consciousness, bliss, Brahman. One without a second. And everything else, everything that you see in this world is an appearance of that one reality. In reality, one. In appearance, many. See, the many in appearance cannot be denied because we are experiencing it. Any philosophy, whether it is dualistic, non-dualistic, whatever it is, has to accept that we are seeing a pluralistic universe because that's already there. It's being experienced. Now you have to explain it. Advaita Vedanta says this is one appearing as many. So, one non-dual reality, ekam eva dvitiyam, one without a second, that's the reality. That's the ultimate truth, paramarthik satyam. But there is also a level of multiplicity where we are experiencing difference in this world. Now, God, world and sentient being, Ishvara, Jagat, Jiva, this triangle is the empirical truth, the lower truth, the relative truth, Vyavaharika Satyam. I am a sentient being, I am an individual being, and here is this world, and there is a God who is the creator, preserver, and the destroyer of this world, the omniscient, omnipotent, omnipresent God. So this is relative truth, Vyavaharika Satyam. And the absolute truth is that I and that God are one reality, that Brahman alone exists and appears as many. Again, one might ask, what is all these two truths? Truth can only be one. How can there be two truths? But there can be. When you read a novel, when you watch a cinema, don't you discuss the plot of the cinema, who did what, as if it is real? Yeah. So there are two levels of reality you are inhabiting. A level in the movie or in the novel and your own reality. Are they equal? No, they're not equal. One is fictional. the other one is what we consider to be real. Similarly, the two truths, one is real, Brahman, and the other one is a level of appearance. So aren't you saying ultimately then the Brahman alone is real and then God is part of appearance? Here one has to be careful. That absolute reality, Brahman, non-dual reality, when it appears as this universe, then where is that non-dual reality? It is Saguna Brahman. It is God. That same non-dual reality is the God of religion. Then what is this? But then you can say that I am also the God, I am also the same Brahman. Correct. And this world, it's an appearance of that same Brahman. The same non-dual Brahman appears as this world and is nothing but the God of religion, Ishvara Saguna Brahman, and is identical with you. Brahma Satyam Jagat Mithya Jiva Brahmaiva Napara. Brahman alone is real. The world is an appearance of that Brahman, and you, the Jiva, are none other than that Brahman. But in this discussion, God is left out. You're talking about me, the world, and Brahman. What about God, Ishvara, Saguna Brahman? See, if you are none other than God, in Brahman, what about poor Ishvara, God? Is God anything other than Brahman? God is the same, is none other than Brahman. The non-dual Brahman of the Paramarthika, the absolute reality, is the Saguna Brahman. In Advaita Vedanta, you talk about two Brahmans. Two Brahmans, not that there are two. There's a higher Brahman, Parabrahman, Aparabrahma. The lower or relative Brahman, which is the Brahman that you relate to. Notice, when Hanuman said, as a body, as this person Hanuman, I am your servant, you are my Lord. He is setting up a relation. You are my master, I am your servant. At this level of our existence, you have to set up a relation with God. Master and servant. Or friend, like Arjuna and Krishna. He regarded Krishna as his friend. Or father and child, mother and child. Sometimes you can say God or is my father or mother. Like Sri Ramakrishna regarded God as mother. Or you can be the father or mother and God is your child. Like the baby Krishna or the baby Jesus. That's the point of having a baby form of God to love and revere, so that you can relate to it as a child. Or the beloved, God is my beloved, like the gopis or like Radha and Krishna. These are all relations. So Vedanta, what it does is, it divinizes our human relations and humanizes our divine relationship. You set up a human relationship with God, and you divinize your relationships with all human beings. You see God in all human beings. So that is the answer. You see, that is not very clear. So am I supposed to worship God or not? Yes, you are. Even as a non-dualist, yes, you are. Why? Because as long as we are firmly identified with one body and mind, we need the help of God. Just think about it. Whether you regard yourself as Brahman or not. Right now, are you not eating, talking, walking, going to the bank, going to your office, relaxing? All of these. Does Brahman go to the bank? Does Brahman eat, drink, walk around? No. When you are doing all these activities throughout your day, in what identity are you acting? As the individual being. If you can eat food when you are hungry, if you lie down on a bed and sleep when you are tired, when you need money, you go to the bank and get money or the ATM and get money, what harm has poor God done that you can't worship God? Spare a little time for worshipping God also. This is part of the same level of transactional reality. Now, why would you do that? One is, we need the help of God. For what? For leading a good, safe, protected, useful, worldly life. And for spirituality. Krishna says, those who are in the world, they are in suffering in the world, they worship me. Those who are not suffering, but they need something in this world, more success, a better life, they worship me. Those who are spiritual seekers, those who seek knowledge and devotion and liberation, moksha, salvation, they worship me. So we are all spiritual seekers. You worship God because you need the help of God for enlightenment. The most powerful help that you get in this universe is God. And God wants you to be enlightened. So you take the help of God. Now one more question remains. After I'm enlightened, then that means when I know I am Brahman, then I don't have to worship God anymore. Krishna says, the enlightened ones are also those who worship me. Artha, Artharthi, Artha, Jigyasu, Artharthi, Jnanicha. The 4 kinds of devotees. Those who worship for some worldly need, those who worship because they want enlightenment, and those who worship because they are already enlightened. If you are already enlightened, why will you worship God? You know you are Brahman, then why are you worshipping God? Bhagavatam says, Ittham bhuta harer gunaha. Such are the extraordinary qualities of the Lord that you cannot, the enlightened one cannot but pour himself out in love and devotion to God. It's not a sign of enlightenment to say that, oh, now I've become enlightened, I don't need God anymore, goodbye. No, it's a sign of enlightenment that for the first time God becomes real for you. Swami Brahmananda said, spiritual life begins after Nirvikalpa Samadhi. Because Sri Krishna says, among all the devotees, those who worship me, those who worship God, it is the Jnani, the enlightened one, who is the best devotee. Anyway, so that's the answer. Let's take another one.
This question is from Abraham from Winnipeg in Canada. Greetings, Swamiji. I grew up as a Christian and have a deep love of Jesus Christ. I have been listening, reading, and watching many videos about Advaita Vedanta over the last 5 years. What is amazing is that the knowledge I have gained in Advaita Vedanta over the years not only helped my spiritual life to blossom, but also deepened my love of Christ too. I love the Bible and the Panchadashi. They cause no conflict at all, except that it is easier for me to say I am Brahman, but tend to have no courage to say I am Jesus Christ. Could you help me on how to make such a statement correctly? Thank you, Swamiji.
You cannot make such a statement correctly. But what Abel has said is wonderful. First of all, before I get to the question, first of all, this is the mission of Vedanta. When Swami Vivekananda, on 11th September in 1893 in the World Parliament of Religions in Chicago and stood up to speak about Hinduism and about Vedanta, that was also 9/11, by the way. We are sitting here in New York. Here 9/11 means only one thing. The death, destruction and religious fanaticism. But there was another 9/11 that was in Chicago in 1893 in the World Parliament of Religions, where Swami Vivekananda talked not about just toleration but universal acceptance, about not only tolerating diversity of religions but celebrating the diversity and the harmony of religions. So there the question arose that so what is the mission of Vedanta then in the West? Are you here to convert people into Vedantists? And his answer was no. He says, do I want that a Christian should become a Hindu? He says, God forbid. He says, do I want that a Muslim should become a Christian? God forbid. Or a Buddhist should become a Zoroastrian? God forbid. Then what do I want? I want that a Hindu should become a better Hindu, a Muslim should become a better Muslim, and a Christian should become a better Christian. This is exactly what Abel is saying here, that by studying Vedanta, my love for Jesus has deepened. That means my understanding of the Bible, my understanding of Jesus Christ, and love for true spirituality, which is at the core of every religion, including Christianity, that has deepened. And that is the success of Vedanta. That is the real purpose. Why is Vedanta here on American soil? It's for this purpose. I remember a remarkable conversation. Long after Vivekananda had passed, Nivedita had passed. Nivedita, she was brought up Protestant. She was of Irish descent and in England. Now somebody asked a disciple of Swami Vivekananda, so how did Vivekananda make Nivedita a Hindu? And this Swami Vivekananda's disciple answered, oh, I don't think he made her Hindu. Although all the documentation, Nivedita's own writing and everything shows that she considered herself a Hindu, like as Hindu as everybody else. But this disciple said, very interesting comment he made, I don't think Swami Vivekananda made her a Hindu. I think he made her a better Christian. What a beautiful statement, sentiment, yes. So the core spirituality in every religion, that is brought out by Vedanta, correct. Now, the particular question that Abel asks, I can regard myself as Brahman without fear. Good for you. You should. I am Brahman. Everybody should say that and own up to it, that I am existence, consciousness, bliss. It's an obvious fact. But I hesitate. I'm afraid to say, I have no courage to say that I'm Jesus Christ. Don't. Shankaracharya points out long ago that the ocean, the wave belongs to the ocean. The ocean does not belong to the wave. What Advaita Vedanta says, God and you are the same reality. Not that you are God. What is God and what you are ultimately existence, consciousness, bliss. But it's like saying a bubble, a drop of water, and a huge tsunami wave are both water. True, they are. But as a bubble and as a tsunami wave, they are very different. So when I think about what I am as this person, as Abel, and when I think about what I know about Jesus Christ, about Krishna, about Rama, about Ramakrishna, as this person and that divine personality, I find a huge difference. And that difference is almost unbridgeable. That's the difference between the human and the divine. That's the difference between an ordinary sentient being and an avatar, the incarnation of God. That's a huge difference. And Advaita doesn't want you to bridge that difference. Advaita says that difference is an appearance in that what we were talking about just earlier. That the second level of truth in this empirical world. Thou art the master, I am thy servant. Thou art my Lord, I am thy devotee. This is all right. To Jesus Christ, I am your devotee. Abel is the devotee of Jesus Christ. But what Jesus Christ is really, existence, consciousness, bliss, and what Abel is really, existence, consciousness, bliss. We are identical at that level. Like Hanuman said, as Hanuman, you are my Lord, I am thy servant. So as Abel, Jesus is my Lord and I am thy servant. But as pure consciousness, you and I are one reality. But there, that pure consciousness is no longer Jesus, no longer Abel. It is just one non-dual reality. So at our level of existence, never equate yourself with God. That's mania. You are fundamentally, at the deepest level, one with God. At this transactional level, moment you say Jesus Christ, and moment you say I means Abel, clearly they are not one and the same. So this difference must be maintained, and that is a helpful difference to maintain.
This question is from Peter de Grazia. Good morning, Swamiji. During these times of tension in the world, various gurus, swamis and others request that we pray for world peace by doing mantras or slokas, etc. To whom are we praying? After all, you say that we should remember that I am none other than Brahman and the world is an appearance in me.
Do you see it is the same question? That's why it's been arranged in the same way actually, because it's basically the same question. So in these times, gurus, swamis and all, they are praying, religious leaders are praying for world peace. Actually, I was doing just that before this program. There was a program, an online program, India-Canada Consortium, Hinduism and Humanity. So everybody's talking about world peace and praying for that. That's exactly what I was doing just now. So it's the same question. Whom are we praying to if there's only one reality? If I am Brahman, who are we praying to? I had this remarkable experience 2 years ago in Boston. A couple of scientists kidnapped me. I mean, not really, but I'm just joking. They said, we want to ask you a question. I said, all right. And where will you go? Let's go to there was the library at Harvard was very busy, so we decided to go to MIT and find a place. And then when they realized that I had not seen MIT, they said, come with us, we'll give you a tour. And before going to MIT, we went to this very secret, at least semi-secret location, classified location. It's a nuclear power plant where they are doing fusion experiments, trying to design a fusion reactor in the heart of Boston. Underground, it's there. And it's an old establishment started during the Manhattan Project. So we went in there. I was given a tour of that, this amazing project, amazing establishment, huge, massive. So I was led to a classroom where the scientists gather for discussions about nuclear fusion. And there was a blackboard, and I went there, and then they said, here is our question. What is the question? Same question. If Advaita Vedanta says we are one reality, then how do Advaitins worship God? So same question, who are you praying to if there is one reality? See, the moment you say I am praying for what? World peace. Already you have accepted world, and there is war in the world, and you want peace in the world. There is COVID in the world. You want a freedom. You want us to escape from COVID. And who is praying? Is Brahman praying, or is this person praying? This person is praying. The moment you accept the person and you've accepted the world, you have also accepted God. And you're praying to God. There's no problem there. The problem arises when I say, see, at the heart of this lies this confusion that I am Brahman means I, this person, am Brahman, as person. But the question will be then, if I, the person, am not Brahman, I am only a person. What else am I? So when you say I am Brahman, you must mean this, I am this person who is Brahman. No. That's why Advaita Vedanta requires little close attention, following it through carefully. What does Advaita Vedanta do? It starts with who you are, and it does not say who you are is Brahman. It first starts with what do you think you are? I am this person. What is this person? This body? Yes. And then the whole process of inquiry starts. Are you this body? And then we are inquired to say that I cannot exactly be this flesh and bone and mass of organic material. Then we go further. Are you the prana, the physiological processes? Are you life itself? We go deeper and subtler. Are you the mind? Many people stop there. Yes, I am a mind embodied in a body. But when we do the Panchakosha Viveka in Vedanta, we see how we are not the mind also. Body is there, prana is there, mind is there. Then am I the intellect which is doing all this understanding, all this discussion, philosophy and inquiry? That also, with the same logic. What is the logic? We have discussed it many times in these talks. So we cannot be the intellect also. Go beyond that, you hit a blankness. Nothing. But that blankness is also experienced. Then we realize that we are the consciousness, we are the awareness. In Sanskrit, so many words are there. Chit, Sakshi, Chiti, Samvit, Bodha. All of them mean the same thing. The awareness to which everything appears. What are you? You are awareness. That awareness, which is the witness of that mind, of that intellect, of that prana, of that body, that awareness is called the witness consciousness or Sakshi. Now, this witness consciousness is Brahman. You can say this witness consciousness, pure awareness, is Brahman. Then the statement is correct. But that witness consciousness, Sakshi, limited by a mind, limited by a body, becoming this person Sarva Priyananda, is this Brahman? Not quite. It is an appearance of Brahman. But you cannot literally say this particular person is Brahman in that sense. So when you say, when I pray to God, as a person, I pray to God. When Abel says, I cannot say I am one with Jesus Christ. Yes, as a person, you should not say I am one with Jesus Christ. I worship Jesus Christ. Before that, Fellini, I think, the first person who asked the question. Florence was asking, how do you worship God in Advaita Vedanta? You worship God as the individual being. Now I just want to add here, just for the sake of completion. So from a non-dualist perspective, is it necessary to worship God? Strictly, philosophically speaking, logically speaking, no. You can inquire into what am I and reach the truth, and that's it. Work is done. But then how many people can do it? Life is a marathon struggle through many different kinds of problems and challenges, both worldly and spiritual. So we need the help of divinity. And it makes the whole spiritual life more joyful and blessed also when you worship God. All right.
Om Jai Jagadish Hare Swami Sathya Sai Hare Bhaktadana Samrashak Bhaktadana Samrashak Bhakti Maheshwara Om Jai Jagadish Hare Shashi Bhagana Shri Kara Sarva Pranapade Swami Sarva Pranapade Ashrita Kalpaladika Ashrita Kalpaladika Avadvandava Om Jai Jagadish Hare Mata-pita Gurudaivam Mariyantayunive Swami Mariyantayunive Nana Brahma Jagannatha Nana Brahma Jagannatha Nagendrashrayana Om Jai Jagadish Hare समस्तलोका सुखिनो भवन्तु समस्तलोका सुखिनो भवन्तु समस्तलोका सुखिनो भवन्तु शांति शांति शांति। जय बोलो भगवान श्री सत्य साई बाबा जी की।